Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Woman of .NET Wednesday, a term which we coined last week on the fly. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about MAUI for MAUI March, and we have some awesome guests today, Rachel and Maddie. So I thought we could start off by just introducing ourselves a little bit. So I can go first. I'm Katie. I'm a PM on the .NET community team, and I work a lot with education and trying to make .NET cool for kind of the younger generation and just newer developers. Alyssa, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, Alyssa Nykel here. I am formerly and still on the JavaScript side of life, but I stream every Tuesday a show called JavaScript Girl in a .NET World where I'm learning the crossover. So really excited to be here and happy to be a part of Women of .NET.
Awesome. Rachel?
Sorry, Maddie.
She's ready. I'm sorry.
My fault. It's like bending upwards. I don't know.
Okay. I'm Rachel. I'm a software engineer on the .NET MAUI engineering team, and I'm so lucky to work with PMs like Maddie.
I'm so lucky to work with engineers like Rachel, who's the best. I'm Maddie. I'm a PM on the .NET MAUI / former Xamarin / I don't know. We have a lot of names and a lot of hats these days. But yeah, I work on like developer productivity and all that fun stuff and focusing on our cross-platform world. Rachel is one of our amazing developers, but we have a huge team of people. We could always be huger. We could always have more. But we're all working on we're working on all the things about mobile development with .NET and cross-platform desktop as well. So yeah, it'll be a fun stream.
Yeah, I'd love to learn a little bit more about how you guys came to the team, how long you've been on it, a little bit more about the work you're doing there.
Yeah. So I've been on this team for around 1.5 years now. It's actually my first team in general. So I'm really lucky to be on this team, especially as my first team, and it's been super exciting working here. And one of my main focuses on .NET MAUI has been accessibility in particular. That's an area I feel really passionate about. So making .NET MAUI accessible and also creating the tools to help our .NET MAUI developers to build their apps more accessibly as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel like there was a Let's Learn that Jamie put
on. I also did that with Swiki.
Oh, I watched that as part of my onboarding when I was onboarding onto my team a couple months ago. It was super interesting, all the work that you're doing there.
Thank you.
Sweet. Yeah, Rachel's written a bunch of Rachel's written a bunch of really cool blogs too, from which I steal content now. For like when people are like, tell us about accessibility. I'm like, well, there's this blog post that Rachel did, and I'll just read that to you, and now you know. So, yeah, let's see. Who am I? I was a Microsoft intern when the Xamarin company got acquired in 2016. And so they were a startup. The whole thing was open source .NET using the Mono runtime, and building .NET apps for Android and iOS platforms and Windows Phone back in the day. And that was the thing that we did. Not anymore. But I remember being an intern in the office right outside of Boston, Massachusetts, and Xamarin got acquired. And my manager at the time was like, oh, they're like really cool. I hope they move into this office because they're based over here too. And I was like, what is Xamarin? But then the next summer, I got to know a lot of them, and I thought they were all really cool people, and they still kind of kept that startup-y vibe, even though obviously they were now part of Microsoft, which is a huge company. And I learned a bit about the developer division at Microsoft, which I know, Katie, you're a part of, and it's really where we work on tools for developers across the board. Whatever stack you want to work on that Microsoft somewhat supports, we work on it. So when I graduated with my computer engineering degree, I decided I wanted to do product management. That was really where my passion was, but I also wanted to still be technical. So dev tools felt like a really good fit. And that's how I ended up here. And I started off just working on little things in VS, and now I own most of our tooling story for .NET MAUI, which some days is great and some days is a disaster. So you're always welcome to blame me, but just be nice about it. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I feel like we have a bit of a similar path there because I also interned in dev div, but I was more on the education side. I was with Make Code, which we talked about a bit a couple weeks ago. And so when I came back, they were like, oh, you're really interested in education. .NET is kind of looking for somebody to help with that side of the story. And so I kind of got plopped into this environment, not knowing a ton about it, but it's been, a very steep on-ramp, but also a really interesting one to get to be a part of, for sure. Cool. But I would love to learn more about kind of what you're going to show us today and what we're talking about with MAUI. I know Rachel has some interesting stuff she's going to kind of let us see.
Yeah. So I thought, why not just jump in and we can work together to get our first MAUI app running and take a look at what this .NET MAUI is. So, yeah. So I'm going to share my screen.
Do it. I'm excited. It's going to be cool.
Yeah. And if anyone has questions, feel free to just ask them and we can stop as we go and get them answered.
Fuel said, speaking of mono, is Blazor still running on mono?
I was just trying to answer that in the chat, but then I was typing too slowly. But sort of, because mono is now part of .NET 6, right? We merged all these runtimes, the mono runtime, the .NET runtime, everything. That was .NET 5 and .NET 6 is the whole one .NET thing we did.
Okay.
So Blazor runs on .NET 6, so the mono code base is now integrated basically into .NET 6, meaning that what mono was good at, .NET 6 is now capable of doing. So yes, it's still it's kind of the same team of people who built mono that are now on .NET. It's very confusing, but TLDR, no, it runs on .NET 6, but it's basically the same thing as mono. So. And so I'm just here to harass Rachel a little bit while she does all the really important stuff. So
no. Okay, so here I have our docs open for installing and getting started with .NET MAUI. You can type in this link here, or
it's the confusing part for me when learning, because I am doing a weird thing where I'm learning how to operate a PC, but I mainly code on a Mac. And so I first started on the PC, and my friend was like, you're so much more comfortable with Mac. Why don't you just go back over there? And so I moved back over, and I was hunting for terminal commands, because that's really the way to go at it right now. And did they take those out of the docs? Were they ever in the docs? That's the hardest part for me right now, is looking for those type of commands that are outside of an IDE, because I'm I don't have that. I don't have that fancy business. So I just, for people who are going about that route, is there a better place for them to look for that? Or is it in the docs and I just missed it horribly?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what's in the docs right now is the reason why we have it there is because it's the best path forward in showing you all of the cool .NET MAUI things. There definitely is a way to build .NET MAUI outside of Visual Studio and the IDE to just do it through your terminal.
Yeah.
But there are so many cool features in the IDE that we'd love to show off, like hot reload, which I'm sure Maddie would love to talk more about later, and all that. So, and it's all part of what makes .NET MAUI such a cool app developing experience. So with that being said, we have the docs here. You can type this link in, or you can also just Google, getting started with .NET MAUI, or just .NET MAUI installation, and it should pop up. And once you're here, you'll see the instructions for downloading Visual Studio, and you'll need to be on the latest version, Visual Studio 2022 17.2 preview. So if you don't have this version already, I highly recommend getting that so that we can download it. So you can click on that link, and just click download preview here, and you can download the community version, enterprise version, whatever version works best for you. And then once you have that installation file downloaded, you can get started. And I already have it downloaded, which is why I'm not going to click through this right now. But next you'll be seeing a screen like this. So let's see if we can get a similar screen up.
So you can download the preview and the stable side by side, right? That's not just like some fancy thing we do internally. So if you want to be on stable Visual Studio, which is free, by the way, Alyssa, community is free. You don't have to be fancy as long as you don't use it for work.
But like, is it on a Mac? I think someone told me that it's only on PC, so that's why I didn't do it.
So yeah, we have Visual Studio for Mac. The MAUI story there, a little messy right now. That's on me. I get it. We can talk about that later.
I think that's just the main reason, because I was fumbling hard on a PC. And so for me in the terminal, I'm like, must type .NET run commands, right? So that's but I will. I have nothing against trying. It's just gonna be painful.
On the latest preview, definitely working through Visual Studio on a PC is, I want to say, a pretty smooth experience. And as Maddie was saying, if you have like the stable version 2019, you can have many versions of Visual Studio downloaded side by side. As you can see, I have here both as well.
That's so cool. Okay.
Yeah. So for the 2022 version, you want to make sure that, why does mine look like this? Oh, I guess it's because I have everything mega zoomed in. But anyways, you want to make sure you have this box here checked off. You can have other ones checked off too, but this is the most important one for .NET MAUI. You want to have this mobile development with .NET box checked off. And so make sure you have that. Install that workload. You can see that reflected here in the screenshot as well. And that should take some time to get started if you don't have it up and running yet, but definitely make sure you have that. And if you already have the preview downloaded and you're not sure if you have this workload downloaded, you can do what I did here. Go to your Visual Studio installer, click on Modify, and then you can scroll through your workloads to see if you already have that checked off or not. And if you don't, then you can check it off now and install that. Okay. So that being said, we're going to go on to building our first app.
Ooh.
Yay!
One question, Rachel, that I'm seeing in the chat is there a VS Code experience for MAUI?
That's a great question. Folks have tried running MAUI apps through VS Code. So as you were asking before about like creating a MAUI app through the command line, that's something you can do. If VS Code is something you want to try out, then you can edit your MAUI code in VS Code, but the default recommended experience is to use Visual Studio. I don't know, Maddie, if you want to speak more to it.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's kind of what it is. We can only work on so many things at once, so we've put most of our eggs in the Visual Studio proper basket. But there are people both on our team and in the community who use VS Code as their daily driver for MAUI development and love it. Like Alyssa, that like Rachel said, there's the CLI tools, so you can do like .NET install, .NET new MAUI, all that stuff. The whole new workloads thing that .NET's done is really cool. So you can have optional components that you kind of pull in instead of having a huge .NET install. And then we have if you're really set on using VS Code and you don't mind not having an officially supported experience, the thing that I would recommend the most is to use James Clancy's Comet extension. So Comet is a way to write Xamarin / .NET MAUI, but a different programming pattern. Yeah. So it's MVU style, right? So it feels more like what you would do with the web or Flutter. I'll put the link in the private chat, and then y'all can share it out however you want is appropriate, because I don't think I'm allowed to just like spam.
I'm so excited about these. And I think Maddie put the link in the chat too to the CLI. Like CLI commands. So like for people who are asking Sean and others, like that's how I've been doing it, is like VS Code on my Mac, and then I just open up the terminal and I install what I need to and I run what I need to. And so I mean, I love how Fuel put it. There's always an experience. Sometimes
there is,
good,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. And honestly, I haven't, like, it's, especially since that's how like I work on the JavaScript side of life. Like I'm in VS Code and I have my terminal open. Like it hasn't been that much different. Like I don't know like Visual Studio, so I don't know what I'm missing. So from my perspective, I'm like, yeah, this is great. It's running. What more could a girl ask for? So
Girl, you have a lot to learn. IDE life. We don't screw around here, okay? We have tools for everything.
Okay.
I mean,
The hot reload was one. I was talking with my friend Sam, and I was like, I have to rebuild now, and he's like, you have to rebuild now, and I was like,
yeah.
So that would be nice. That would be beautiful.
Comet like makes your life easier. Like certain things will work better and certain things won't. Like it makes the deployment stuff easier from VS Code. So I recommend it, but again, it's like James Clancy's side project, and he has a full-time job he has to do. So it's not like I'm like this is the solution to all of your problems ever. I just think it's a nice little touch.
And so for like people who are new to this, like to MAUI as a framework, it is a way to like deploy to like desktop and mobile, like to multiple platforms, right, with the same code base. But whenever I run like different commands in my terminal, I'll get like Android errors. I was wondering, does it depend on like what machine you're on as to what you're capable of building? Because you like if I'm on a PC, I can't use the Mac Catalyst command, right? Like, is that a true statement? Yes. I'm getting a pointed finger.
I'm
like indicating to Rachel because I know she knows this answer better than
me. So I'm going to be demonstrating with Android today because Android is something that you can test whether you have a PC or whether you have a Mac. As you were saying, .NET MAUI is supported on desktop and mobile platforms. So that means that it'll be supported on Android and iOS, Mac Catalyst, and Windows. And you do need a Windows machine in order to test a Windows app, and you do need a Mac device in order to test it on Mac Catalyst, and similarly on iOS.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Okay, so let's continue then. So we've downloaded Visual Studio. Hopefully by now everyone's Visual Studio is fully downloaded. And we can finally get started. So we're going to launch Visual Studio. And click. I just realized I already have it open. Okay, so we have Visual Studio here open. Now I have two. Okay. We open Visual Studio, and then we're going to create a new project. And here we'll see templates for all the different types of projects you can create through Visual Studio, but we want .NET MAUI. So you can use a search bar or use these filters to look for it. And, oh my. Okay, .NET MAUI. And this one that says .NET MAUI app, parentheses preview is the one we want. So click on that. And then
I definitely did not know there was such a thing as preview. First time I got on stream, I was like, we're doing it. We're doing MAUI today. And my friend was like, cool. You have the preview version? And I was like, what is the preview version? He goes, oh, this will be a fun stream. So that's an important note to make right there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Maddie, do you know the date offhand for when it's no longer preview?
So MAUI itself?
Yeah.
It's early May is what the current schedule is.
That's basically like tomorrow.
I know. I'm freaking out. Which is why I'm like so like, because God knows what's gonna happen with us. We're trying our best, we're plugging away. And then it's a matter of like Visual Studio also has to ship again to like get all the new bits. So obviously we like try to line those up, but it doesn't always work out perfectly because there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of teams besides us. So May-ish.
Yeah, so that's when the preview tag will go away. So in a way, this is all a sneak peek into what you will be able to see non-preview in May.
How much of your like workflow, especially from like a complete .NET noob, will change? Like, will I go through the same steps, just not previewy steps, or will there be different other steps because it is now out of preview that now I do to use
I
it?
think it'll be exactly the same. It's just this preview label won't be there anymore.
Be gone. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So gonna click on this, hit next, name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it Women of .NET Demo. Create.
Sean said, and bug free, right? In May. I feel like we could give him till July to have all the bugs. You know, like Maddie's face.
Yeah, no
Depends
bugs
which
ever.
June. We're compromising with June. I feel like June's good.
Let's say really annoying bug free.
I mean,
But the more people who use it, the more bugs we'll find out about, and then the more we'll be able to fix. Whatever.
Hey, Thendo. Good to see you. We are talking about Maui today. We've got the amazing Rachel and Maddie above me. They're walking us through and filling us in on all the Maui bits. Oh, what are we looking at? Oh, everything looks so different on PC. I'm like, look at this whole new world.
Well, also, I'm pretty sure Rachel is running this. You're running this in parallels, right?
Yeah, this is a VM.
So she's on her Mac right now in parallel. So we've got like multiple layers of chaos. Very exciting.
Do you like that? Are you a fan of that, Rachel? Or what are your thoughts?
It's not my normal
okay.
day-to-day work environment, but I thought for presentation purposes, it was the cleanest slate that I could start from, since I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like who can't, just whip up a parallel real quick for presentation purposes? Yeah, I totally know how to do that. That was like a flex if you didn't know.
Gosh. It wasn't supposed to be. Yeah. But I just wanted to show, I guess, that even if you aren't signed in and you aren't using Enterprise and you don't have the internal latest builds, you can still do this. So I just wanted to use that angle, which is why I'm using the VM. But yeah, okay. So we created our new project, and you should see something like this. We have here on the right a single project. So the previous version of .NET MAUI was called Xamarin Forms, and it didn't have this single project feature, meaning I can collapse this whole thing in one. And this is all compartmentalized into this one beautiful chunk. But previously, it was there were multiple projects, and it was a bit harder for someone who was new to it to kind of orient themselves and figure out what's going on in here. So yeah, we have our single project here. We have our main page.xaml, which is a XAML file, and we have the code behind file here. And in it, we see reflected our what we will see on the screen when we first run the app. So we have a label that says "Hello World," "Welcome to .NET Multi-Platform App UI," which I can't believe I haven't mentioned that yet, but that's what MAUI stands for, Multi-Platform App UI.
Yeah, we kind of just like say it and forget.
Yeah.
It means something.
Wait, so it's not an acronym within an acronym because the U and the I are both. I gotcha.
Yes.
It's just okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Otherwise, it'd just be Mau.
So long to parse. My brain doesn't like UI is an acronym.
So I think the thing that hung me up was that she said it stands for multiple platform UI, but what it actually stands for is multiple platform user interface, because she left part of the acronym intact. So I was like, what is happening? It was just a weird moment mentally.
That makes sense.
We can.
I get it. I think I get it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, so we have these labels. We have a button that you can click on to increase this counter. It's just like a random counter just to show off some of the things you can do in MAUI. And we'll have an image of a .NET bot. So over here, up here, where you see this green play sign is where you actually deploy the app. And if I drop this down, I can see all my options. So I happen to have a physical Android device plugged in, so that's what I'm going to be using. And that's what's selected here for me at this moment.
Is it hard to like do you just plug it in and then it shows up in the list, or do you have to have like a driver that connects it or something?
Nope, that's it. You just plug it in. You might have to like accept your computer's permissions. Like,
okay,
do you trust this computer? But that's it.
You might have to turn on developer mode on your phone. You might.
Okay.
Like, I feel like most developers who've done mobile before have just done that once and completely forgot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You might have to.
But you go and you like, it's like you tap the software version number like 12 times or something, and then it's like, oh, developer mode. Like, Android is like, oh, we're cool. We're gonna make you feel like you're like hacking to turn this on.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm just sitting there like,
Rachel,
the reason I remember that, by the way, is because
I
just recently pulled out an old phone that I have not like used in years, and I was like, oh, use this as a test device, and I plugged it in and it didn't work, and I like lost my mind, and then I was like,
trying to figure out how. Okay, I see, because I was like, that I can just plug in, I will plug in, but yes. I will mentally prepare myself for
yeah, you're right. I have no idea about developer mode because it's been so long for me.
Rachel, since you're running in a parallel on a Mac, can you do all builds, all the runnings? You see what I'm saying? See the question? Did that
I'm
make
gonna
sense?
say no.
No.
It's a little tricky with VM. I haven't personally experimented with it too much, honestly.
You're saying you didn't want to break the world, so you didn't try.
Yeah. But you'll always be able to see all the options. So I'm not gonna try the other ones right now. Like, you see Windows Machine here, but I'm not on a Windows. Well, I guess I am on a Windows.
I was like, wait.
This is too many layers.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Level.
But for example, like Android emulators, I recommend checking this out. You can go to Android Device Manager and click yes and you can go through that flow if you want to set up an Android emulator. It's not going to work for me, for example, on my VM because emulators don't work on VMs.
Yes, Fuel, that's exactly what we're doing.
Not a thing. Yeah. So.
Do you have an M1? Are you on an M1?
No.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, for all of you watching, just pretend that this is Windows. So no Visual Studio for Windows cannot, regardless of the fact that it's actually running on Mac hardware right now, it has no idea how to like deal with a Mac Catalyst app. There are things we can do for iOS, which we can talk about later.
I really thought that it would just all work and that you had found the meta way of
programming. No, sorry.
It's coming next May.
Yeah. .NET 8.
Yeah, I think there are limitations also with Mac in particular because of Apple regulations and rules. So it's not fully in our control. But if you do have a Mac and you're on a Windows device, you can click on this Pair to Mac button. And then when you click on it, you can find like the IP address of your Mac and in that way connect to your Mac.
That was the weirdest screen I've ever seen in my life. It was like Finder, but like PC design Finder. That was so cool.
I think it was showing like a screenshot of of Mac, and like how you can set that up, and then you would click on the Mac you have and press connect. I'm not going to do it because I'm scared, honestly.
I have no idea what happened.
I'm surprised.
On Twitter, someone's dishwasher showed up in this list last week.
That is awesome. Oh my goodness.
One of our community members, who is fantastic, tweeted and a picture of this screenshot, and it was like Bosch dishwasher or whatever. And I was like, can you use that as a build host? That's pretty cool.
I think that would be the best use of a dishwasher.
Yeah. Wait, I'm gonna put this in the chat because also the replies to it were just people making like dishwasher related .net and Xamarin puns, and it was incredible.
It's so funny.
I didn't know that was I cannot wait to read this. Thank you for that. That's beautiful.
Same. Okay, so if you have a Mac, you can click on the Pair to Mac button. You can connect it. If it's successful, this icon will turn green. And then if it's successful, when you look at your iOS local devices, iOS simulators in particular, you'll have like a massive list of all the different simulators that you can choose from, and you'll be able to spin that up. But for the purpose of this demo, as I said, I'm going to be just using my Google Pixel. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to click on the button. I'm going to do it. So
now, are we going to see it on the phone and on your screen, or does it just go on the phone? What happens?
It just goes on the phone, but I'll show you my phone here. I'm using a reflector.
Hey, Luce. Luce is in the chat.
You can see what I'm seeing on my phone.
I'm so excited. Luce is going to be talking at .NET Beyond in a couple weeks. I'm like trying to think of the exact date. I think it's like the 30th. And I get to be her host. It'll be streamed to Twitch.
Woo.
I just can't wait for her session. So sending you love. Good thoughts, Luce. Mwah, mwah. Wait, so we are seeing it on the... I feel very lied to, Rachel. Very lied to.
So I'm using a reflector just to reflect my physical device. But
you say things that are so low-key cool. Like...
so like nonchalant. She's like, oh yeah,
just like, oh yeah. Next week I'm going to the moon. So what about you? Like, and I'm just like, okay.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. You're giving me way too much credit. But I'm using this thing called Visor. It's a third-party extension that I like to use. If you use a physical device, it's not going to pop up on your screen like automatically. But if you have a third-party reflector like this one, then you can use it. It's great for presenting because then everyone.
We need a list of like Rachel's recommendations, just that we can always refer to and use and cherish forever.
I want like How to Be Rachel, a guide.
Yeah, exactly.
All facets of life, not just this, just all. She's also in charge of our team's fun committee, by the way, or one of the couple people in charge of it. So she planned out a whole bingo, like an asynchronous bingo we're doing this month with some incredibly funny categories. And everyone's been posting like their favorite plants and like the book they're reading and people reciting pi. So Rachel not only is like a badass on all this, but she also is fun.
Rachel, you should collab with Jamie. She made us this whole like experience in Gather, if you've ever seen that, where it feels like you're in an old Pokemon DS game. And she made all these games within its world. So I was just like, whew.
That is so cool.
It was insane. It was so cool.
I need it. Add me.
I will. You're part of the next one.
I think my VM is a little overwhelmed right now. It's not used to presentation
same,
mode.
right? Like... Okay, so you press play, it starts running. Device is using its power to run it, or this is the confusing part for me because I'm really new to mobile development. So who's running it? Is it the device that you're plugged into? That's like, yes, okay, and then
so literally like it thinks that you're just deploying it from Android Studio or whatever right now.
Okay.
Like all it gets is an APK or an app bundle or whatever the package is right now. It's supposed to be app bundle when you publish it, but sometimes APKs are what you use for most of. Like you can see it going by in the output. So it just literally like transfers the file over and then spits open the debugger, and the debugger has the communication between the device and the thing, but the app is just running as if it was running on your phone normally.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. Okay. It is kind of magic.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hot reload just happens, or you have to press fire buttons to... What's the next step on that? Is it just there? And I like change code and then it does it? Because I'm still getting used to like the playing and the pausing and all that. Those bits.
Yeah, I'll hopefully be able to show you in a bit. Yay! Okay, I promise you, it normally doesn't take this long. I think just using a VM and presenting at the same time
And
is
streaming,
a lot.
yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah. Okay. So this is what we have here. You can see those labels we talked about. Hello World, welcome to .NET Multi-Platform App UI, the current count label, this click me button, click, click, click. Look at the count going up. And this .NET bot. Yay, so hot reload. What is this wonderful hot reload thing we're talking about? Well, if I want to say hello .NET world instead of hello world, you see that? I didn't do anything. I didn't have to redeploy. All I did
Did you
is I went
save,
to the
or do you have like an
file.
auto save thing going?
You know, I thought I had to save, but I did not save, and it's here. It just worked.
It's just like for XAML, it just constantly reads it. So it like literally sees like, oh, the XAML changed, reflect those updates. Unless there's a syntax error, then it knows not to do that because then it would just show up broken code. So anytime like the XAML becomes valid again, it's basically like reload it. It's pretty cool. It used to be on save, but we changed it because we were like, that's lame.
Gotcha. That's cool. Yeah, you see that? It's happening in real time, even on my VM, which is slow.
I think you
It's
just
happening
convinced
so
me
fast.
to start using my PC again.
Yeah.
No, like you would not believe. Like I changed the text on a label, and it is literally 120 seconds plus to restart, like to restart it every time. And so and I'm super new to even just syntax. So I'm like, did I mess up that syntax? I don't know. Let's find out. 2 minutes later,
So that was XAML hot reload, but there's also C# hot reload, and it works very similarly. It makes changes without you having to rebuild everything from your C# code. So here I'm going to change this current count to just say count because I think that's sufficient. And to make this work, I click on this fire hot reload button. Let me save this. Bam. Uh-oh.
As we're made, no compile. We do not love.
What did I do?
Which
it might just be broken right now. That happens. It's preview.
Is the syntax right though? Nothing. There's no actual missing bits, right?
No, the syntax is right. I think there definitely was an error at one point in the public preview where hot reload just kind of threw up on itself. But it should be fixed. But maybe it's internal. Maybe it's still an internal preview.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry, I was trying to show you something without trying it. It happened.
Fine. I get it. You asked if it works with .NET Watch or MAUI. I think it like just kind of is using .NET Watch. I think that's just what it does under the hood. It's the same way that .NET Hot Reload works for the rest of the .NET stuff right now. So whatever they're doing there. But we could always have Dimitri come talk to you about it because he's the expert. But also, I have to close my shade. The sun is coming down. And I am getting like blinded. So I'm going to go off camera for 1 second.
I have to do that too. Yeah, does anyone have any questions so far?
Fuel is asking, does Hot Reload work with .NET Watch for MAUI?
I think Maddie was just talking about that one.
Oh, okay. Did she answer that? Because I honestly don't know what .NET Watch is. So
it's like a command line tool for reloading stuff, like watching if the files change. It's a file watcher. I am back. I know that was really good timing. It's like I planned that. No. It's like a file watcher type thing. So when the file changes, it reloads it for you.
Yes. Sorry, I was just reading the question. Yes, MAUI supports MVVM and data binding.
It does. It is.
So, and Thindle also added on, he just didn't type it with his fingers. Will you show us? But that's all. I mean, just, Can we see it? Can you bind something real quick? Because I literally was like smashing my face trying to learn just data binding. And I don't know why. I can't. I don't. What is wrong with me?
No, I'm
It's definitely me because I'm like,
no, it's not you. I thought data binding and MVVM was like the fifth circle of hell for the longest time. Like, I worked on this team and I was like, this thing sucks. Why do we do this? This is a horrible idea. And then
I don't understand. You thought data binding was a bad idea, or you thought
all of it?
Oh,
MVVM,
all of it. Okay.
I was like, excuse me, I want to do like something dot something equals something. What is this on notification property changed? Blah 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 blah. Like all this stuff and these things and interfaces. Like, go away. Maybe I'll just quit my job. Like that, we were having a crisis, and then one day I was like, oh, I think I actually kind of get what's going on right now.
It like clicked. It made sense.
And it just clicked. And it is real. I really like it now after like probably a couple of years of sticking my feet in the sand and saying it was the worst thing in the entire world. And then now I'm like, oh, I think I get it. Yeah.
Kendall, he said, I agree with Maddie the longest time. And then I realized I was wrong. And that's where I feel like I'm at. Yeah. I think it's me. And I don't know what I'm doing
wrong. It's not you, though. It's literally like my problem with this is that it's so good, but it's so difficult to learn. And if it was just easy to learn, or if we were able to communicate it in a way that actually makes sense to people, people would understand how good it is. We just have not figured out how to teach it or like make it make sense. I don't know, which was probably meaning that it's not actually that good, because if it was good, it would be really easy to learn. But once you know how to do it, it's really helpful. Yeah. That being said, that's why we're also like looking at making this more flexible and like being able to mix and match programming styles. I don't know. James's videos on literally like James Montemagno, because I know like Thindle and Luz are talking about it in the chat. I called him once and I was like, everything sucks and I hate this. Like, we were gonna do some demo years and years ago, and he just like kind of sat there and was like, okay, this is what you do. Okay, step 2. Okay, I notify property changed. Okay, this. And I was like, oh, this kind of makes sense. So anything he does, I highly recommend. All those videos are very helpful. Yeah, or just,
check those out.
Yeah, go irritate him on Twitter or something.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Katie's boss, I think. So maybe Katie shouldn't condone it.
James is my boss, so I definitely know like the James effect of him just explaining something, and you're like, oh, I see. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I found it. Luz, let me know. I think it's the one that it's titled "Never Write MVVM Boilerplate Again." Source generators. Yeah, that's it. All right, I'm placing it because that's a word in the chat for you all. I found it. I found the link. All right. Excellent.
Okay, so while we have this template, I do want to show off some of the other cool things that are already in here. So as we were saying, data binding, things like data binding, something that is a bit more difficult to pick up on as a beginner who's completely new to this world. But here, something really cool. I have to talk about accessibility because it's my baby and I am here. Something you may have noticed is there's these semantic properties things on these controls. So for example, on the label, it says the description, semantic properties at description is welcome to .NET Multi-Platform App UI. We have on the image, we also have a description that says cute.NET bot waving hi to you. And for the button, we have a hint, counts the number of times you clicked. We have all these various semantic properties. What does that mean? What do they do? So the reason why I wanted to use a physical device today is because I wanted to show you all how screen readers work. I'm not familiar with it. So every device has a screen reader. On Android, the main screen reader is called TalkBack. And you can go into your settings, under accessibility, find that option and turn it on. I have a shortcut for it, so I'm just going to turn it on now.
TalkBack on.
What?
Don't go left. Women of .NET demo. Hello 6 exclamation mark heading.
So I just turned TalkBack on. There was like a random window that popped up. Just ignore that. And you can see there's a green outline and it's outlining the first text. And I can use one finger to swipe through or tap on other things on the screen, and the screen reader will just read that out loud. So this first one, if I click on it,
Hello 6 exclamation mark. Heading.
it says hello, and I guess there's 6 exclamation marks, so it tells us that. And it tells us it's a heading because I said here that I put a heading level on it because I wanted it to be read aloud as a heading. And heading is a special feature where it helps screen reader users to skim content. So if there's a bunch of text and you mark certain things as headings, they can just jump through all the things you've labeled as headings. So here I have a couple things as headings, and if I use one finger to swipe up and down in this talkback mode,
Korean, South Korea.
oh my gosh, I'm not in headings mode. So I have to switch to headings mode.
Characters. Words. Lines. Paragraphs. Headings.
And I'm doing
Swipe
this
up or swipe down to read my
with
headings.
a 3-finger horizontal swipe. With talkback and screen readers, there's like a lot of different gestures you might need to familiarize yourself with. But a 3-finger horizontal swipe can help you get to headings mode, and then a 1-finger vertical swipe can help you navigate these headings. So I'm doing that vertical swipe now.
Welcome to the Network platform MAUI.
Oh my gosh, it's still on Korean.
It is still on Korean.
Let me go change that.
Controls. Links.
That's
Windows.
so funny.
Spoken language. Default.
Okay, I think default is English. Or it'll read, I think default reads the language in the language that it is, if that makes sense. So if I had both Korean and English on here, it would theoretically read English in English and Korean in Korean. Okay, let me go back.
Characters. Words. Paragraphs. Headings.
Okay, now we're in
Swipe
headings
up or
mode
swipe down to read
again.
my headings.
I swipe up and down.
Hello 6 exclamation mark. Heading. Welcome to .NET multi-platform app UI. Heading. No next heading.
Well, it'll navigate just to these 2 labels because those are the only ones we've added a heading level to.
If you're in paragraph, will it read headings and paragraphs, or will it just read paragraphs?
I think it'll navigate by paragraphs. But I'm honestly not sure. We'll need to experiment. Okay, another thing is this meta properties at description. So even though this says welcome to .NET MAUI, if you set a description to it in addition to the text, it'll read out that description instead. So here, since not everyone might know what MAUI is, we have welcome to .NET multi-platform app UI. And I write out .NET and UI like this because depending on the screen reader, they might pick up on punctuation weirdly. So if I did like a dot and then wrote net, I was afraid that it'll just stop, say like welcome to net, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of nuances depending on the screen reader, so I just did this to be safe. And similarly, you can set a description to non-text control. So I think that's one of the coolest parts of this template is that if I click on the image,
Cute.NET bot waving hi to you. Image.
it tells you it's a cute.NET bot waving hi to you. And you can put whatever text you want to it. And it's super awesome because now the image becomes accessible. If you can't see the screen, if you have visual impairments, you might not be able to tell this .NET bot is there and it's not accessible. But with this description, it becomes a lot more accessible, which is super cool.
This is so cool. And it's nice that it's so easy to just like bake this into the experience so that you're, you know, allowing more people to enjoy their experience here. That's
yeah, cool. Exactly. And then there are more complex semantic properties as well. So for example, with the button, if I tap on the button,
click me button counts the number of times you click.
It reads the button and it also tells you what the button does because I added this hint to it. So I'll say click me button and it tells you it counts the number of times you click. And then if I double tap to click on it,
current count 7.
it reads out the updated current count. And how it does that is in the code behind here, we use this extension method, semantic screen reader dot announce, and then we put in what we wanted to announce, and we say, hey, when you click on the button, we want the screen reader to announce the updated text. So every time I click on the button, it's going to do that.
Current count 8.
Whoa, this is so cool. I'm pretty new to the world of accessibility, so it's cool to learn about all of the different things you can do here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Oh, sorry, Layla. I will make my code bigger. Boop, boop. So if you couldn't see it before, the semantic properties I've been raving about. Here we have semantic properties.description, semantic properties.hint, and we have semantic properties.heading level. And these are properties that you can attach to any control. And then here, I was just talking about the semantic screen reader .announce method that we can use.
Is there a semantic portion in the docs that like lists all these out?
Yes. So if you go back to the .NET MAUI docs, we were going through these get started, build your first app section. Under fundamentals, we have an accessibility page. Talks about the semantic properties. And so you can go through these, learn more about description heading level and when you might use them, how you would use them, and all that stuff. So yeah. I also have some other talks I've given on the past about this as well. So if you're interested, you can go find those on my Twitter and my GitHub and all that. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions about accessibility and screen readers and semantic properties?
Fuel was asking, does Xamarin support inherited properties? Is that, because they were saying how attached properties, a brilliant feature for WPF Xamarin. I've abused many things. So yeah, are these inherited properties? Is that why Fuel's bringing that up? I just didn't know if that's what these like semantic properties are called, or if that's something totally different.
I'm a bit confused about the question. Semantic properties though is new to .NET MAUI. But because we want our Xamarin Forms users to check out these new things as well, we've incorporated them into Xamarin Community Toolkit. So if you're a Xamarin Forms user curious about how to use these, you can check out Xamarin Community Toolkit and you can access the semantics there.
Very cool. Very cool. This was a neat demo.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Trying to see if anybody else in chat is asking. Not seeing any others, I don't think. So these, I did have one of my own. As far as I'm assuming, if you just ran it for desktop, then we'd be able to use some sort of desktop talkback screen reader and do the same type of things.
Yep, exactly. Same exact thing. So on Windows, the Windows system default screen reader is narrator. So I don't know if the shortcut is automatic for everyone, but if you have a Windows machine and you type in, if you do, I think, let me do it real quick on my Windows machine if you want to. So you can either just like go to here, narrator. Narrator. This app, every Windows machine just comes with it, and you can turn it on.
Pane. Narrator dialog. Close.
Can you hear
button,
that?
Alt+C. Narrator
Yep.
touch requires a touch screen that supports 4-finger input. Narrator touch is not available, but you can continue using narrator with a keyboard and mouse. Press the space bar to continue.
So I'm just going to close this.
Narrator dialog.
Oh,
OK. Button. Exiting narrator.
I would turn it off, but that's one of the screen readers you can use on Windows machine. And same thing, you can use your
Screen off. Printer
keyboard.
vibrate.
You can use your keyboard to use the tab key and arrow keys even to like navigate through various items. And if your Windows machine has a touch screen, you can also use your finger to swipe through. For Mac and iOS, it's VoiceOver, which is something that you might have heard of before. But VoiceOver is the default screen reader there. Might be able to show you since I have a Mac. You can go and turn VoiceOver on. VoiceOver. It's gonna work. Is this the right one? No, I don't think this is. I think this is VoiceOver settings and not my actual VoiceOver. Maybe an accessibility. Okay, no, never mind. Sorry. It's there. I'm just not as acquainted with it because I haven't used it recently. Sounds like the classic Twitch meme voice. I think there are also a lot of these screen readers. You can go and change the voice if you want.
Yeah, and there were some questions earlier about the speed. I'm guessing you can change the speed at which it talks as well.
Oh, yeah. Regular screen reader users can, like, let me see if I can show you on Android, actually.
No previous heading. Device unlocked. Women of .NET demo. Click me button counts the number of times you click.
It's
Double
already...
tap to activate.
Okay, let me see if I can change the speed here real quick to show you all.
Controls. Links. Window. Speech rate. Swipe up or swipe down to adjust the setting.
One of the settings here is speech rate, and I can make it really fast. And a lot of people who use screen readers regularly as their main form of using their phones and devices will have it really fast. So you can make it really fast.
Speech rate 545%. Swipe up the 3 fingers, swipe down the 3 fingers to select a different setting.
And for people who aren't familiar with using screen readers, that can obviously be a bit harder to parse and comprehend. But it's reading that out loud really fast. So yeah, it is adjustable. I'm gonna bring it back down for myself.
Speech rate 173%. Swipe up with 3 fingers or swipe down with 3 fingers to select a different setting.
It's like when you're doing like a training for work or something and you can play it at like 2.5x speed.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm getting through this real fast.
So that was my entire last year of college because I finished during like the Zoom school era. So everything was just 2 times speed.
That's perfect. That's so good. Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds so much better than listening to a professor. I mean, I would have learned
Yeah.
is the problem.
It was
The
great. but I
problem
was
is that
thinking
you
out
get
loud
used
on
to
TV.
it.
Yeah,
Maddie,
you get
you know?
normal talk, and people talk at like normal people tempo, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is so slow.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, good point."
Maddie, I hope you're not telling your students that. Maddie teaches class in person.
It's true. It is in person though. They don't get any videos they can watch, so they have
So
to
you have
listen
to
to
talk
me.
at 2 times speed now.
I do talk really fast, so no one's complained about it yet. I don't think. So maybe they are used to it. Now they can like actually understand what I'm saying, which is cool.
All right, Alyssa, are you seeing any more questions in the chat? I'm trying to like scour through.
I haven't seen any more. You can just yell at me really loudly right now if I missed your question. There was some love sent from a couple people. Luce said I was an accessibility working group for Xamarin Forms from the start. Just wanted to say thank you for all the work you and the team have done to improve this stuff. So shout out for that. Yeah, Layla said, my partner says it helps with ADHD to have it sped up. Yeah, and I'm the same way, Layla. It does help me, but I think it also hinders me from understanding the normal rate. So it's kind of a catch-22 because you don't always have the control over the speed. So let's see, Maddie, Rachel, 30-second pitch. What are you most excited for about .NET MAUI?
Squeaky, I'm gonna say the upgrade assistant because that's what you and I are working on. But literally, the .NET upgrade assistant is so cool. It takes your .NET framework or core apps and then moves them to .NET 5. So we were like, why don't we do the same thing for Xamarin Forms to MAUI? So you'll be able to just do the command line thing, and it'll take your Xamarin Forms project, and then it'll make it MAUI. I mean, it mostly works, right, Squeaky? So it's gonna work perfectly. No bugs. I am actually really excited for that. Yeah. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be so nice. Anyways, Rachel, what are you most excited for? You work on a bunch of cool stuff, so this is hard to choose.
So right now I'm actually working on creating a default cross-platform theme, and it's not here yet in this template, but it's going to be part of it. So that's definitely one thing I'm excited about. And just in general, this whole getting started experience, I'm excited for all the new people who will be trying this out and just going through all the steps I just went through and being able to do that quickly and have a pretty app running, a pretty accessible app running very quickly is something that I'm excited about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think that's a wrap. I really appreciate you all coming on, showing us all the cool MAUI bits. I have, let's see. I was trying to get a raid ready. So chat, if there's anybody you want to raid, or Rachel, Maddie, Katie, anybody that you're like, hey, they're live. I think I was going to pass us to Code Rush because he was doing some C# gaming stuff, but he just ended his stream. So is anybody in chat saying anything? We can raid one lion. Yeah. Let's do it. Awesome. All right. Let's see. I'm going over here.
Thank you, Rachel. I feel like I learned so much. My MAUI knowledge was down here, and now I'm like, whoa, it's all percolating.
Yay. We love to hear that.
We're more than happy to chat anytime. Feel free to let us know. Alyssa, I'd love to talk to you about the Mac situation at some point, especially when it's a little bit more mature than it is right now. So
okay. Yeah. No, I'm going to keep plugging away on both. I feel like with the hot reload, I have to pull out the PC, but I know there's some people who don't have that option. So whether it's Parallels or whether it's just keeping, with the VS Code terminal game, I think, I don't know, I like learning it all. It's been fun so far. So I really appreciate you all the work you're doing and coming on and sharing with us. It's good stuff. Awesome. I think I have the raid queued. Invalid username, of course. 1 second, loves. Capable of typing properly. One lion and talking. Yeah, Layla. I typed it in exactly like that. So I don't know. 1 second, loves. I'm going to try again without the @ symbol. Yeah, Layla, do it. I don't know. It's a 1 and an L and they're side by side. I don't know if I'm dyslexic, but I'm like the 1 and the L. It's fine. It's fine. First time chatter. Hi. It's good to see you all in chat. Chat was so fun today. They really liked it. It was some good stuff. And we also, you heard it here first, no bugs in June. Bug-free June. So there's that. We're making Maddie cry.
You're committed to it now. We have it on video.
Sorry, team. Don't watch this.
Oh, thanks, Layla. I might have been trying. I know I was given admin powers, but maybe it was because I don't know. permissions. But yeah, it looks like the raid is queued up. So let's send lots of love to One Lion, and we'll see you all next time. Mwah!
You're having a fun.
Bye.
Bye.